Welcome to Things My Mother Forgot to Mention.
The podcast where we say everything our mothers didn't.
I'm Jan, a trauma therapist and author turned rogue storyteller, here to talk openly about the body, aging, and all the, wait, what? Moments of womanhood.
And I'm Patty, an online business and tech nerd whose purpose is to elevate the voices of women in our world and who doesn't believe in taboo topics. Things My Mother Forgot to Mention is the podcast for every woman who's ever said, wait, why didn't anyone mention this to me?
Join Jan and Patty, two outspoken, curious, outrageous women, as they dive headfirst into a messy, magical, and often WTF realities of aging, health, and quite simply being a woman.
From rogue chin hairs and vaginal thinning
to mental health, perimenopause, and scalp cancer. Yes, really.
Nothing is off limits. It's funny, it's raw, it's real talk your mother definitely skipped.
Let's get into it.
Hey, Jan.
Hey there, Patty. Good to see you.
Good to see
again
you.
From last week.
I know we're in a period of seeing each other a lot, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess today we're talking about cancer, which is, we all know somebody who's had cancer. I have, my father died from lung cancer, and a good friend of mine died from pancreatic cancer.
My goodness.
So, let's see. I'm trying to think of any other people. Who has volunteered to be our guest. She's dealing with and finishing up her bout with breast cancer. So that'll be
Wow.
interesting hearing her. And I guess me today, I get to talk about skin cancer. Isn't that exciting?
It's exciting. All of our topics are so thrilling and upbeat and positive, but it's real. And I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's an important point you make of like, we all know somebody who either has survived cancer, is currently dealing with cancer, or who has passed away from cancer.
Right.
Yeah. And so you've had skin cancer.
Yes, which I never really, I don't believe, well, my father died when I was really young, so I don't know if he ever had skin cancer. My mom, I don't think she ever really had a problem with it. I did because I was stupid when I was in high school and I thought I could get tan. And
Mhm.
all I did is burn because I had these girlfriends that both had really tannable skin. They had a
Yeah.
lot of melanin, and I think it was, and they would go to the beach and they would just turn brown and look great. And me, I used to go, and this is back in the day, and I don't believe I should probably check on this, but I don't believe that there were anything like skin creams that were protective. I don't think they
Oh,
had
like sunscreen?
sunscreen. I don't think they had sunscreen back in
Mm.
my day. So that would be like, yeah, I'm dating myself now, 50 years ago.
Yeah. Well, you've told everybody your age here, so they know. They know.
So they know.
That's really interesting, but I too get lobstery in the
Yeah.
sun. Like I also would not. I mean, sometimes when I was younger, I would burn, and then when it peels, then I'm a little tan. But
Uh,
for the most part, I burn
no.
like it's nothing.
Yeah.
I'm super white and turn red immediately. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that's really the people who, I mean, I think that's the thing that most has really opened my eyes about is when I was raising my sons, I said, wear sunscreen. When you have young kids and they're in the sun, sunscreen.
Hmm.
And it doesn't really matter. But first of all, the sun really ages you. So
Yeah.
if you lay in the sun a lot and get tan, eventually as you age, your skin looks even more wrinkled, first of
Yeah.
all. So that's one thing. But for people like me who are really fair skinned, I never really knew back 50 years ago about sunscreens. And I used to use baby oil, which is like
Hmm.
being in a frying
Hmm.
pan, let's spray on some oil here. And we used to put iodine in it, which is crazy. Put iodine in it so
Why
that
would you
I
put
look
iodine in it?
to give so it looked you like you were tan. I don't know. It
Oh
would
my
give you a kind of an
goodness.
orangish color.
Wow, I've never heard that before.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
yes. Oh yes. And now they have all these spray tans that you
Yeah.
can get. They probably have some sunscreen in them, so everything's gotten a lot smarter. But
Right.
I'm still paying for the fact that I didn't use sunscreens, and it wasn't until, let's see, well, when my son was probably 4 or 5. So this is like 95. So when I was probably in my 40s, I started noticing on my face, especially spots on my face that would scab over, and I thought, oh, maybe it's a pimple or something, but it would not. It would just keep bleeding and scabbing over and bleeding and scabbing over and
Oh my
bleeding and
goodness.
scabbing over, and it never healed. And I remember after about 2 or 3 months, I thought, isn't that weird? That is not healing. And it was right in the middle of my
Oh my
forehead, too, like the third
goodness.
eye. And I went to my dermatologist, and when she, of course, what they do is they take a sample of it. They want to biopsy it. So she sent it out and came back, and it was squamous cell cancer. And I'm like, what? And that was my first beginning of like my face being kind of cut up from all the skin cancer that now comes in. So I think that people who are going without skin cancer, so this is a warning for people who think that they don't need sunscreen, that eventually by the time you get into your 40s and 50s, it catches up with you. And that's when it
Mm.
starts showing up.
Right.
Now, because I am susceptible to having a lot of squamous cell and basal cell. It goes in the order of basal cell, squamous cell, and then it goes into melanoma. And melanoma is when it actually goes into the blood system and then it spreads into your body, and people
Mm.
can die from that because it attaches to different parts of your organs, or
Right.
wherever it goes. So I go every 6 months, if not sooner. If something happens, I go and have it checked out with my dermatologist. I'm like her
Mm.
best client.
So you just do a full like whether or not you see anything, you're just like, let's do a skin check and just check
Well,
to
I have every 6 months I do a skin check, and that's a full body. But if I notice anything that's happening, and it's not healing, that's
yeah.
always a sign.
Yeah.
So that was my first exposure when I was about 42. And then I thought, okay, great. And what's happened is, I don't know if she said it's some of it's genetic, is that I have something called keratoses. Have you ever heard of those?
Mm. No.
It's some people have it genetically and some people don't. And they're like scaly parts of your skin. It's not and they form, and some of them become actinic, keratoses, which means they turn into cancer. So
Oh.
some I know, and I hate them because it's like they've invaded my whole body. And and especially on places where I've been sunburned or I've sweat a lot,
Mm.
it will show up as these keratoses, and then they become actinic, and then before you know it, they become basal cell, and then they keep going to squamous, and then hopefully I catch them then. But
Wow.
that's
And so
a
they
big,
just what remove those?
yeah. So there's different ways that they remove things. They remove things through the is it nitrogen, the
Oh
freezing.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Liquid
Nitrogen
like
spray, and
they
that liquid
freeze it.
nitrogen, they spray it and spray it and spray it, and it feels like, you're gonna like putting a hole in your head. And then that sometimes gets rid of it. If that doesn't get rid of it, then they actually have to go in and cut it out and stitch it up. I know, isn't that great?
Oh.
And so, oh, gee, it was probably about, maybe 4 years ago or 5 years ago. Sure enough, on my forehead, I had this place where I had wear hats. Of course, now I wear hats all the time, and I always wear sunscreen on my face, and I stay out of the sun. I'm not a big sun worshiper anymore. And I had another spot that was bleeding, and it wouldn't go away and wouldn't go away. And so finally I went to the doctor, and of course she said, Jan, you should have come sooner. I'm like, oh, great. And she said, so I'm concerned because it's going into your scalp. And she said, I think you need Mohs surgery. And I'm like, what is Mohs surgery? And she said, it's actually the doctor who came up with the procedure. I think his last name was Mose or something. And
Mhm.
basically, what it is you go in, and it's a day treatment, and you lay in a chair and they numb everything up, and they cut away. the margins, and they're trying to get the margins. And then they have a person that goes into one of their clinics that they have right around an office where they have a microscope, and they check to see if it's where they've cut away, it's cancer free.
Mm.
And I was there for a freaking 4 hours because margin had to get they had kept finding more and more cancer.
When you
Well,
say margin, so that means like they just keep expanding the area and where
yes,
they're cutting away until they hit an
yes.
area that they
Until
take
it's a
off that
clean,
is
a clean
not cancer.
cancerous. Yep.
Oh my
12
goodness.
stitches later and part of my hair being shaved. Oh gosh. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And that's what really freaked me out is it was in my hair. And I'm,
Right.
oh, so it doesn't mean, your hair is protecting you from the sun because it's not.
Wow.
It gets through there. So that was very traumatic. I did not like that. And you can still kind of see the
You didn't
scar.
like your face being
I
slowly
didn't like my
cut
face.
off? Yeah,
My
got it.
face. And actually, I've probably had one, two, three, four, four or five places where they've cut in and
Mm.
put stitches in my face, believe it or not, from skin
Wow.
cancer.
And the scary thing with your scalp is that when they're on your face, you can kind of see if it's happening, but you can't see it under your hair. I mean, obviously, if it was bleeding and it was one of those ones, like you might notice it, but that must be even scarier to know that you can't see. I mean, that's why you go in for those checks regularly.
Right. Well, it's even hard when you have hair. My hair has gotten a lot thinner, but I'm actually I've battled scalp cancer twice now. I'm on the second
Mm,
round, and the first time I had to use this. It was a combination of Fluorosil and something else, and it was created a formulary pharmacy, and I had to put it on the area, and chunks of my hair came out. I mean, because
oh
it's
my goodness.
basically killing the root, and it's the hair comes out. It's trying to get into the scalp. And that worked for a couple years ago, and now it's come back. And so I'm, I'm like, man, I'm not going to get a break here. So when I wear hats, I want to make sure that I even cover my head, being out in the
Right,
sun. So for all the people that think, oh, it won't happen to me, it's becoming much more popular. I don't know what the statistics are, but I think that, you're not putting sunscreen in your hair.
right,
You're
right.
thinking, oh,
Some
my
people do,
head,
but yeah,
oh, my head will be fine. But you know
right.
where it is? It's a lot where the part was,
The part
where
is, yeah.
the part is.
I reached a point where I was like, got to put sunscreen in the
That's
part.
right.
Yeah,
Right. In
yeah.
fact, a good friend of mine, Jane, her husband, he was a big tennis player and he never put it on his ears. And he ended up having cancer on the ears and they started cutting
Oh
away
my
his ears too. I'm
gosh.
serious. It's it's hard to believe. But this is what happens when you get into your 60s and your 70s is all the bad behaviors that you had when you weren't taking care of yourself come to roost.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know. I'm a little concerned that as I get older, I mean, I'm a little paranoid because I'm always looking at my body or trying to figure out is that healing or is that not,
Yeah.
And so it's just a good hygiene. And so the other thing is another treatment that my dermatologist finally told me about. It's called PDT, which I was like, what is photodynamic therapy? So
Okay.
she highly recommended, she did not carry the machine that did this, but she highly recommended that I do PDT every 6 months. And basically, I go to another dermatologist and they put this kind of ointment all around your face. It's like a mask, like a gel mask.
Mm.
And it's some kind of uh, gel that makes your skin sensitive. And basically, they put you under a big red light for 10 minutes. And this gel like cooks your face. Isn't this great? But it's basically taking off a thin layer and any precancerous cells that are on my face.
Oh. Wow. Does it hurt?
It stings.
I would imagine because it's burning off your skin,
It is. There's a
essentially.
slight, it's like getting a bad sunburn is when you come out and your face is all red. But basically it's a way of for people who are more prone to
Yeah.
having skin cancer, which I have, like I've had like 5 different times. that it kills a lot of the precancerous cells before they get going. Isn't that
Wow.
great?
That's yeah. That is so fascinating and it's so crazy. I mean, the positive thing is that you've continued to find it before it's turned into melanoma, which then I would imagine once it gets in, I mean, then that's when we're looking at chemotherapy potentially and like I mean, that's
Right.
where, it's quite a bit more dangerous, but thank goodness that you repeatedly find it. It is terrible that you keep having it, but
Mhm.
that you find it every time and that you instead of some people go into avoidant behaviors with things and
Yeah,
they're like, well, I just don't even want to know then and I'm just not, but like that you're like good every 6 months I get this
yeah,
checked, I also check myself, and I think that's really important. I have like a sunspot or something that I got, like basically a discoloration thing on my cheek, and I've just been like watching it to making sure it doesn't change because I'm like,
sure.
but I also know that happens as you get older. I'm in my mid
Mhm.
40s. I'm starting to get little things here and there, of like little tiny discolorations on my
Yep,
skin or skin
yep.
tags and things like that. And so,
Hmm.
but I've been really just watching and making
Hmm.
sure, like, okay, is it doing anything else, or did it just do
Yeah.
its thing and now
I
it's just
mean,
chilling?
that's great because part of it is any moles that people have that are
Hmm.
irregularly shaped can
Yeah,
be cancerous. You really, and anytime, you're wearing clothing, if it's rubbing on any certain area where there is something, it's always starts irritating it, and you
yeah,
never know what's going to end up having happen. So I think the best thing people can do, especially as they get older, is go to a dermatologist once at least a year for a skin check.
yeah,
And if they're more prone to finding that you have either basal cell or squamous cell, then you're going to go every 6 months. So it's really a good habit to get into.
yeah. Wow. That is crazy. Yeah.
I
And
know.
I think it's interesting for me because I burned so easily, I tended to lean more towards sunscreen a bit more, but
Mhm.
I definitely had moments where I was like, "Oh, I want to get a little color or something," but I just would turn red. So
Right,
so
right.
I just reached a point where I'm like, I got to put sunscreen on and, so I've been really good about that. So I'm hoping later on. And I don't have thankfully any history of cancer in my family in an immediate way. So I'm hoping
Yeah,
that
I
helps.
don't know if people are prone to skin cancer or if it's
Mm,
because of their behaviors
yeah,
of not using sunscreen. That's a great question because I don't really know that answer. So all I have to say is if you don't take care of yourself when you're younger, this is for the warning for people is that it shows up like me. And now it's a battle every year. It's like a battle of trying to go and get the PDT done and then going to this, every 6 months, and then sometimes I go because I find things, and it's become a real ritual for me now,
yeah,
taking care of myself that way, just
yeah.
because of the sun damage that is caught up with me.
Yeah. When I looked it up, it said that, these are the sort of things that make people more prone to skin cancer. Um, and so that would be fair skin, a
Yeah.
history of sunburns, a large number of moles, family history of skin cancer, a weakened immune system, and age. So I don't think it is necessarily, it would have to be a family history, probably more specifically of skin cancer versus any
Mhm.
kind of cancer. But yeah, being fair skin, and saying eye colors as well, which we hear a
Oh,
lot of that.
really?
But like, yeah, people with fair skin, red or blonde hair, blue or green eyes, and a tendency to burn or freckle have a higher risk. Melanin in darker skin provides some protection, but skin cancer can still occur in people of all skin types.
Oh, interesting. So, yeah,
Hmm.
so darker skins have more melanin in it, and
Yeah.
that protects them. I have a good friend of mine, Laura, who was on our first show that we did.
Mm, yeah.
She is like one of those people that gets so dark, and I used to covet that. I like,
Yeah.
oh, if it could only be that way. I'm the freckle person. I had
Mm,
freckles when I was a little girl, and I have
mm.
freckles still.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So that makes sense. You're even more prone
Mhm.
um to that. Yeah. Huh.
I do get a little nervous thinking if I miss it, or as I've gotten older, I keep thinking, okay, so I just have to be hyper vigilant about doing these things and taking care of myself because, you can't just forget about it because it can really, when I had the Mohs surgery, that's when I really got scared. I thought 12 stitches in my face and my head. I'm like, oh my
Wow.
gosh, that is too much. So
And it sounds like you're kind of trapped there. I mean, you can't go anywhere. You're just waiting as they go and then look under a microscope and then like, oh, nope, we need more. And then they come back and cut your face some more. I mean, it sounds like torture, honestly. I mean,
that's
it
what it was
sounds
for four
terrible.
hours. And you're laying there with, you can't even move because you're wide open. It's like
Oh my
they're
God.
bandage holding it while you're bleeding. So they're like trying to, hold it back while they're checking the margins. And I really didn't have any idea what Mohs surgery was, and I didn't know what to expect. And it was, I wish I had been a little more prepared.
How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, it was like right around when COVID was happening. So
Hmm.
maybe 3, 4 years ago, 4 years
Okay.
ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so I don't wish that on anyone.
Yeah.
So that means when you don't catch it, that's how bad it can get.
Right.
So,
And that's even a step before it gets into your blood and can go further, right?
right,
So,
right.
yeah, it's not to be messed with. I mean, checking skin is so important. And if you have a partner or a friend, have them check your skin if you have like in places you can't see it. And
hmm
like, but yeah, it's super important. I have a friend actually who I know she's had a couple things removed from her skin, from her arm that were cancerous. And so, yeah, and unrelated, I'm sure, but she now has lung cancer. So yeah, it's cancer. Can we just, I know we don't like to swear on this, but fuck cancer, you know?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, they're making some big strides for
Hmm.
some of the cancers. I mean, breast cancer, catching it early, but I think that the worst cancers still our neighbor and my good colleague of mine, therapist. He didn't do a colonoscopy. He
Mm.
should have done it because they say do it over when you turn 50 and over.
Yeah,
And if there's any kind of history in your family, you should be doing it like in your 30s and 40s.
right,
And most people die from colon cancer. His stage 4, he died from colon cancer. And pancreatic cancer has not a great prognosis.
right.
So it is tough about, the C word, and it is frightening. And so,
Yeah, yeah. My sister-in-law, she had cancer one time, and then she just needed to do, I think it was breast cancer, and I think she just needed to do, or maybe it was thyroid at that point, and she had just had to do like a radiation, like some radiation pills, and then she had breast cancer and thyroid again at the same time, and so she needed a full double mastectomy.
oh my God.
And at that point, she also, I think they found a tumor in her kidney. I believe. So it was a rough go of it. She was undergoing a lot of treatments and did chemo and everything as well, along with double mastectomy and breast reconstruction afterwards. And yeah, so she's and from chemo and going through all of that, she has like nerve damage, and there's just a lot of things you deal with afterwards. I work with somebody who I just co-work with her like a client just once a week because she's a cancer survivor, and the brain fog that has come with
Oh,
chemo
I'm sure.
and all of that. And so literally we just get on once a week for an hour just so she has somebody there to sort of be like, okay, I need to focus and get this work done. And
Mhm.
it's terrifying what the after effect of it is. So
Mhm.
even if you do survive it through chemo and therapies and medicine, like you are, in most cases, living with side effects of that for the
Right.
rest of your
Plus,
life.
the fact like me, mine is skin cancer. I don't want to say only skin cancer because people can die from melanoma,
Absolutely.
but cancer, once it's been treated, then you're always in fear about it coming back.
Right.
So, like with my hair right now, I'm like, oh no, what is this? Should I go back to the doctor? It's not getting any better, and I can't see in the top of my head. I'm like trying
You
to
have
look
it
at
right
the
now and have not gone back to the doctor?
I was there about 3 weeks ago, and she
Okay.
said, try this cream on it.
Oh, that's
And
okay.
so I've been doing this cream thing, but I'm just like, okay, if in probably another couple weeks, if it doesn't go away, I'm going to probably, go back to her. But
Yeah.
it's always once you've been have had cancer, part
Hmm.
of even the after treatment is just managing your anxiety
Yeah.
about, is it coming back? Is it coming back?
Mhm.
And
Yeah. Yeah. My sister-in-law, same thing is if she's feeling off for a little bit, she's like, I think this is how I felt before I got sick. And
yep,
so like,
yep.
is it again? And I think she recently went in just for another round of tests because of that, but I think she's clear. So, all right, obviously she's clear. I would know. But yeah, same thing of just like, it's always on alert. And also her family, like, my nephews both get, if she's not feeling well, they get nervous, and
They
especially
get
the older
right,
one
'cause
because he lived
mom,
through that
right,
of being aware.
exactly,
Yeah, he was old
exactly.
enough when it was
I
happening
think
to
it's
see her get
very,
sick.
very upsetting to a family system.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Kids, I mean, when they're old enough and they know that something's going on, they're anxious and worried too, and hyper vigilant about watching the parent because they don't want to lose their parent.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it is really hard. So, gosh, it is. I know what you said about cancer. And the good news is they're doing much better with it. And
yeah,
it still is a tough diagnosis to get.
yeah. And you have to just be vigilant in general, whether or not you have a history. That doesn't mean you can't get it. It doesn't mean it means nothing. Pay attention to things. My friend who's right now dealing with lung cancer, she had a cough and randomly went because she had traveled with somebody who had walking pneumonia. And so she's like, well, maybe I should go to the doctor and get checked, thinking it might be that. And it was lung cancer.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So you just never know. I mean, this sounds like like not to be terrifying and everything, but it's
No.
just true. I mean, you just have to be vigilant about things
Mhm.
because when you catch it early, you can,
Yes,
there's
catching it
so
early.
many treatments
Mhm.
out there and you live with it and you can make it, you can heal from
Mhm.
it. Um, yeah.
I
So,
mean, for sure, my dear friend and colleague who said she would love to come on, she said they got it really early for her. And
yeah.
that's the good news,
Yeah.
because then if you don't, then it's, mastectomies and all kinds of consequences, and then
Mm,
the recovery and all that. So it's hard.
yeah.
Yeah, my father, who had lung cancer, he was a smoker, so I know, that wasn't helping.
Right.
And he just was running out of breath, having a hard time getting, and all of a sudden goes to the doctor and they say, oh, lung cancer.
Yeah. Wow.
So you just never know, do you,
You
Patty?
never know. Live in fear constantly. No, I'm kidding.
Right. We just did the podcast on anxiety. Well,
Right.
sorry about that.
Now you have the tools to manage your fear from the
Now you have the
anxiety
tool.
episodes.
Right, right,
Yeah, yeah. But I'm glad that you're getting it checked, and I'm going to be following up with you in a couple weeks to find out at this point if it's not bleeding anymore and if you are going back to the doctor, the cream's
right.
helping.
Well,
Uh,
thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. I mean, it does bother me, but my worst fear is that I'm going to end up with so much on my face being cut away that I'm going to look like, I'm going to like look like I'm a scary, I'll be a great skeleton or something,
gosh.
Halloween costume.
Yeah.
I can just
Tis
show
the
up with my
season.
face with the stitches in the face and everything.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah, yeah.
stitches eventually do fade away,
Hmm.
and that's the good news, but you can still see them
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, you have scars from it then, I imagine.
Mhm. Absolutely, you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so that's my story. I'm sticking with it.
All right. Well, let us hope that you don't have anything else skin cancer wise or any cancer wise.
No, I
And
mean, I
yeah.
have lots of uh, joints that have been replaced, but which at some point we can talk about hip replacements, knee replacements, uh,
Mm-hmm.
shoulder replacements, all those really fun things too.
Yeah.
However, they're not the big C like cancer.
Mm-mm.
However, there's a big, long recovery period for all of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Those are not small undertakings. But when you do those things and heal well, they can change your life, is
Yep.
my understanding. They are massive game changers.
Mhm.
But yeah, I am quite sure we'll talk about that at some point as well.
For sure. Oh yeah. Oh
All
yeah.
right. Well, and if you're listening and you've experienced cancer and it's something that you want to share ways you've gotten through it or any treatments, and in general, we welcome people messaging us to let us know things that they want us to talk about. Or if you are listening and you have something that you would like to share with us and you would like to be a guest on and share with us, we love that. I mean,
I love that.
yeah, we learn from each other, obviously. I mean, this is part of what we do is and why we're here is to keep growing and learning from each other. And so, yeah, please reach out to us, message us on the website or directly hello at thingsmymotherforgottomention.com and let us know. We
I'd
would love to
love
hear
that.
from you.
So
Yeah.
I'd love to get some input from the rest of the people listening. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Jan.
thank you, Patty, for listening to me. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you like what you've heard, please share it with friends, subscribe, and leave a review.
And remember, information shared on this podcast is not medical advice. If you have a concern about your physical or mental health, please seek support from a professional.
If you have a story you'd like to share about things your mother forgot to mention, you can apply to be a guest.
We'd also love to hear a quick 90-second thing you've learned in your life.
You can find links to both of those over at our website at
thingsmymotherforgottomention.com or in the show notes.
Thank you.